In an agentic world where AI is writing the majority, if not all, the code, we are going to have to change how we approach how the code gets written, when, and by whom. You see, because Git, while it served us well for quite some time, Git was not designed for an agentic world. So right now, people are having to utilize solutions that, well, they're a little problematic. These virtualization concepts are putting them in virtual machines or work trees. And you get this idea, it's like, okay, well, technically an agent could work on it, separate from one another, but they can't talk to each other. That's a little problematic. Still got to go through the merging and the conflict resolution. It's like, well, crap, is that any better? Think about all that disk writing with work trees. Like, it just doesn't seem to be a good fit. And I applaud everybody who's attacked this problem. And so I thought about it, and this led to the creation of the repository that is on your screen. Now, this repository is just a couple of days old, but it's called Spec. Now, it's not a version control system. Think of it sitting as one plane higher than Git. It does the coordination of version control. And hopefully that makes sense, but allow me to work my way through this. Because when AI agents are to attack one repository, while having the ability to have an infinite number of agents in parallel do things at the same time, we have to change what it is that they're able to touch and modify. And instead of that being code, how about we shift it one level higher to the spec of the code? Now, it might use the code itself as a reference, but it needs to basically talk about what the code needs to do to achieve. And then from there, the code gets produced. So as you see, the way this is approached and thought about sort of changes. And so in this repository, there are examples. And I'm going to try to just keep it simple and not scroll. But think about if you had 3 AI agents, and they all want to make a change to one file. Well, if they physically could change that one file, that file at some point would probably not work, and it would appear as if it's broken. And you see that loop that you could cause the agents to find themselves in. But if they address the spec of it, meaning they all sit there and say, well, you know what, this is what I need it to do. And the other's like, I need this. And the third one's like, I need that. Okay, well, that's not so bad. These are just the things they need. Okay, so the 3 make a proposal of their own. They're all individual proposals. They're aware of each other's proposals. But it would be passed down to a mediator, which is also, you could say this would be another AI agent. The mediator's job is to not, be on one side. It's not about that. The mediator's job is to sit there and say, semantically, are we good or are we in conflict? If it looks at that spec and it says, hey, this isn't going to work, it's going to push that back to the AI agents. And they have to resolve this amongst themselves. No different than how you would have to resolve this if you were on a team of engineers. You're all going to sit there and say, okay, I need it to do this. It needs to do that, do this. Okay, how about we do this as the final thing? And then we all shake hands. But the problem with that is that you find yourself as one person sort of doing that final piece of work, and the others might have to just sit and watch, and that's not efficient. Well, if you do it this way, the AI agents will come to their agreement. It's going to go back to the mediator. The mediator is going to go, it's either good or not. And then it will give it to an implementer. The implementer is the AI agent that will actually produce the code, the changes, the testing, all of those things that we know very, very, very well. And then this would essentially produce one PR that, likely you as the human in the loop will have to look at. And I know there's going to be arguments to this. It's about, well, what about, I thought the diffs had to be small. Well, it's like, who are they small for? For you? For AI? You see what I mean? This is why it comes down to who is doing what. Because maybe in the agentic world, we don't need, diffs super small. Who's to say, right? But through it all, the code's going to get written. You're going to merge it into your main branch, whatever that may be, or your staging, whatever that, and it's going to go out there for it to be used. It's the same thing, which is why you at the end of it all, you still get to use Git. it still shows up as you that wrote the code. And I think that's kind of nice. But now think about it. You could have an infinite number of agents all doing this, which means we solve the problem of everybody working on or towards the same thing while still being able to get it produced, but without the collisions that we would find ourselves in with our current, we'll say, processes. Now, what this repository does not have and what is truly needed is a good harness. If I have it to where you could use it technically within Codex or Claude Code, but it needs a more advanced harness to kind of, control things, if you will. And that's what's still needed. But I think with a good harness, this concept could actually work and work quite well, which means you could just have this on your local machine. You don't have to scale this into the cloud. And your builds will be targeted to one mission. So what I need from you is your feedback. Now, I'm not trying to die on the hill or anything, but I want feedback. I want to know what you think about it. Just go through this repository and try some of it out. See what you do, you don't like, because this type of thing has to be experimented with. And I think the engineers, the coders, the people, all of us have been doing this for some time. This is the thing that we care about. And this gives us a chance to kind of noodle on ideas and see what could or what couldn't work. Because right now, all we have are solutions that are given to us under the, I don't want to say the guise, but the illusion that it is the solution, to find out it's not the solution. And we sort of got to noodle on ideas, or we're going to find ourselves, letting the commercial entities try to tell us how this is all supposed to be done. And maybe we don't want that. Maybe we need more open source controls or availability in our ecosystem. So if this is you, leave me a comment, a like, share this. We need dialogue. And I'll leave you with that. I look forward to hearing from you.